fair sweating now. A total disaster that was. I'm on camera B. Anybody there? Oh, I assume this is working. Oh, nightmare. Oh. Yeah, my camera. I don't know. My camera just went all higgledy-piggledy. So I'm now on the camera B. So I'm no longer in I'm in 720. Cheers for coming back. I see the sweat that's coming at me already, just from the fact when something goes wrong. It's like, I don't know. It's all live. What am I going to do? So yeah, I was talking about arias. Craig, Daniel, Paul, thanks for coming back in. Really unprofessional. I really don't know what happened there. I don't know. Morbid Angel, you're back. Awesome. I'm actually going to need to get my face wiping towel. Yeah, so I think basically I haven't been having problems with that camera. I like using that camera because it's a much more expensive one, the one I'm using now. But sod it, I'll just use the cheaper one from now on. I've never really had any problems with it. So yes, Craig, you were asking about the arias. Hopefully everyone will come back in again. No, Chris, I didn't cancel it. Believe me. You'll see but if I do put up the very start of this video again, you'll see I was not in a sweaty mess before. It's like you're panicking and it's like live. There's people that are going to be watching me try to set it up, and I just wouldn't do it. And I got it working, and there was no chat. And nightmare. But I'm back on the run. Yes. So arias, yes, they still make guitars, and I've not played any of the modern ones, but you do see that STG type strats and stuff like that, quite cheap sometimes. And I'm thinking, being a bit of a cynic like I am, I think you're probably thinking that they're probably better than the equivalent value Squire, but the same sort of thing, and not going to be as much money when you try and sell it on. But there was a thing mentioned there. What were you talking about? All the questions I get asked before, if you can come back in again, that's awesome. If you're back, thanks very much. I panic now. Yes, the Night Warrior. The Night Warrior, I think it would have been easy if something had gone wrong. Exactly. Yes, the Night Warrior comes in at the end of the Japanese series when they were kind of doing, when you get like a car and they bring out a new car, and it's not really a new car, it's the facelift version where basically all they do is kind of change the bumper and different type of headlights and maybe a stripe or something, kind of like that. So the Night Warrior, I've actually just done a deal with my pal Wayne, bought a Blade Runner, which is exactly the same sort of thing as the Night Warrior. If you go back a bit, so it's at 1983, you can get a RS model, RS models guitars, which are a bit more stratty. And then when it came to sort of 85, they were using up old designs and just modifying them a little bit. So it might have like, but the one the ZZ that I'm buying has a bar magnet pickups, like hence the name Blade Runner. I think that the Night Warrior maybe has them. It's maybe got a Floyd Rose on it, and maybe a different color, and it's got a cool name. And I think they might even have painted black necks. But that'll be like, it should be like a proper pro level guitar, whereas the STGs and stuff just like it's a modern guitar. And I'm biased, but basically modern guitars aren't as good as old ones. They've got years on top of them. I think there's an element of the wood's dried out properly, and I suppose the chances are someone's had it set up properly and it's been worn in and all these things. But I think just basically they're better built. I think back in the 80s, there was more wood. There wasn't as much endangered stuff, and you could basically just get wood really cheap. So some of the really cheap guitars have actually got really good necks. Whereas if you buy a modern, even one of the guitars that I like, like the modern Squire Bullet and stuff, you can tell looking at the wood. The wood is, it's fine, but the wood is just not expensive wood. You can see just by looking at it compared to what's on the older Japanese guitars. An Aria Pro Magna series. Magna series is that's what I'm saying. That's a Korean one. I think early 90s maybe. Still great guitars. I think by the time it got to the early 90s, they kind of ironed out the niggles. Some of the the later 80s Korean ones when they started doing them. They were good, but it took Korea a couple of years to get up to speed, and then when they got up to speed in the early 90s, when it went into the sort of the era I'm not so keen on, where it's like it's more of a super strap. Whereas you could argue that this is a super strap, but I could argue that it's not somehow. I don't know how I'm going to argue that, but it's not quite as pointy. You know, the first really an RG I'd say is a super strap, like the Gem's a super strap, whereas this is just getting there, just like not quite a super strap. Same with a lot of the West tones as well, are the same. Oh wow, man! Oh, pure sweaty death after that wee panic there. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go into things I don't like about this guitar. Then I was talking about it in the first part of the video. I wonder if I could stitch the two at the start up before it failed. But first, I hate that input jack. Partly because it's wobbly, but also I just don't like the barrel ones. I much prefer the standard ones, which if it doesn't work, you can easily replace it with anything, or you can go in and scrape it with sandpaper and bend it to make it work. Whereas when you've got a barrel one, it's like a sealed unit. So basically you just have to buy another barrel and put it in. I don't want to do that. And then it won't be the original one. I don't like it's got two volumes. That's just really annoying. I would much rather it was a volume in two tones, but it's two volumes in one tone. Which is annoying. So I'm used to just turning it down and it's down. But if you're running the bridge pickup, obviously turn the neck pickup down, it's still on full bung. I suppose you just get used to that sort of thing. And the third and most annoying thing is it's got coil splits, right? So it's got push spots, right? And I've had push spots before in other guitars, and they're great. But normally, on all the other ones I've seen, when you push it in, you can actually see by looking at it whether it's in coil split mode or up. You know, like if you look at the back of a pen, you can tell. Look at when you push it down, it kind of pops down and pops up to that height when the pen's on. Then you click it again and it pops up higher. These don't do that. I would really like to ideally break into this and do that with them, or maybe even just make it to I don't know. It's not a guitar I'm planning on selling, but it's like one of those ones that's kind of like a banker one. I can see somebody paying a lot of money for this, so it's kind of worth having it original, just because if you're collecting Ibanez, which a lot of folk do, this will be a hard one to get, because I think I've seen one on the Ibanez Facebook page that had this color, and I've seen maybe three that are the ready one, and that's it. And that's me since I got this 5 years ago. Have you tried any wireless systems? I have not. Well, have I? I've played through one. I've never owned one. I've had a shot at one just for the sake of it. I don't know. I mean, it's not really that much use to me. I'm not gigging very much. I can see. I suppose it'd be really good for if you were recording all the time, so you didn't have leads going everywhere. I really quite fancy getting wireless headphones. Would be really nice for, you know, when you're recording and listening to headphones, so you're not sitting there with a cable that's kind of hanging down there, and then you kind of put it behind the neck and you're like, up here, right, cool, ready to record, and it's like, oh, I just need to adjust the amp, and you're kind of like trying to reach without stretching the leads. I do remember we're going back 20 years here, and my pal tried one in a shop called Mr. Music in Glasgow, which isn't there anymore. And you plugged it in. He was wanting it for the bass, just for something cheesy. I don't think he was even we weren't in a band or anything like that. And by the time he got to the other end of the shop, it started like interference and stuff. And he was like, "It doesn't matter." And then we went to a shop called Merchant City, which at the time was in Merchant City. Always like the guys who run that. I don't know if they're still. If the shop still exists, I don't think it's the same guys that run it, or maybe it's the same owner. It's not the same staff, but the staff are always amazing in that shop. That's why I always wanted to try and buy things in there. And they're like the young guy. So he said, we went into the shop and I tried our wireless system, and it was like, it was cutting out as soon as we got 10 yards away. And the guy's like, oh no, it shouldn't do that. Here. And got the young lads, I put this bass on, stuck it on, right, go. And just walk around the block and test this. So basically the guy's like, any bar. He put on a bass, he came going dunk, dunk, down. He walked in, and this is in Merchant City, Glasgow, walked in and went out and rocked around the whole outside of the block, and then came, went along the street that way. And then you could hear him playing all the way around. And then you saw him come back that side. Which was absolutely hilarious, and he bought it, and it was awesome. It's just one of those things that where do you find a use for it. I do remember seeing a band before, and it was this guy was doing the bank was a bass player, was kind of checking the sound. And the thing about that is, you can see what it sounds like at the back of the room if you don't have a sound guy, because you can, you're playing, what does it sound like over there? And you can just walk to the back of the room and see what it sounds like when you're at the other end of the room, even though you're still playing in the band. But so the answer is no. I've never owned one. I think you can get them. Can you not get them really cheap now? Like pure 20, 30 quid. I mean, they used to be like 150 quid. I think you can get it for like 20, 30 quid. And it's like a sort of Bluetoothy thing. And I don't know. I mean, I know that Angus Young has a special simulator pedal for when he's recording to simulate the radio mic thing, because he uses a video mic live and he likes that sound. And then when he's in the studio, it's like, rather than use a radio mic, he's got like a box that kind of reduces the capacitance or something to make it sound like he's playing through the radio mic, because he's just used to it these days. Fantastic. STG one is 40 quid. The Road Warrior is black with 2 single coil and a humbucker blade pickup. Yeah, I bet you the Road Warrior's not 40 quid. If the Road Warrior is 140 quid, it's a better buy than the... I don't know if it's going to be as little as that. It could be... It's called a Road Warrior. Night Warrior. Road Warrior. That's a very Mad Max one. Or Mad Malco. That's kind of why I chose Mad Max. That's partly why I've got the name. How much do you think it's worth? The Road Warrior? I don't know. I had a Mega Metal. If you look through my videos, I sold it. I got 300 for it. And it was basically the Road Warrior, apart from it was a 1987 version. So it said Mega Metal on the headstock. It had a Floyd Rose. I'm not sure if the Road Warrior does. But it was basically the same body and the same neck. It had a different shaped headstock and a pointy headstock. But it was like basically, as I said, it was like the facelift guitar, the same as the laser bass there. In fact, in this laser guitar as well. Ooh. That is kind of like, this is a Thor sound neck. You can buy a guitar with this neck on it as a Thor sound, and you can buy this body as something else. And in 1985, they kind of marred the two together, painted it all black, and said, "Here's a new model," even though they're kind of just using up old bits and it's not really new. Again, same sort of thing. That'd be the 85 version. I think they would have had a revision in 86 and a revision in 87, and then by 88 they were gone. Yeah. Roadstar Ibanez only made in Japan. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about them. I think so. I think so. Maybe. I think they might have been reissued a couple of times, the Roadster / Blazer. I think you get ones from like about the mid 90s or something like that were Japanese, but I think they reissued them in the 2000s and they weren't, but I'm not 100% sure. Like reissuing their classic ones, but they have a dots on the 12th throat closer together. I know the fret markings you mean. Nope. That's the original. There you go. The original Fenders, I think, had that. That's one of the things you can tell. Like I'm not a Fender expert, but in a 62 or a CBS one, because the dots are behind the two strings. Yeah, but behind the A and the B string, whereas on a normal guitar, they sit. Okay, maybe not. I'm looking at it. I don't actually have any. I don't know. There is something to do, but I remember Fender. There's something to do with Fenders. I've got a funny feeling that it's something. The dots either sit behind the A and the B strings, or they sit like between the E and the A and between the B. I don't know. Is the answer. I'm not sure exactly how they did it. I do know the Jackson Performer. My pal has a Kelly Performer, and it's got the maddest neck you've ever seen. This thing looks like a super spiky Explorer, but the neck on it's like a Spanish classical guitar. It's huge, like pure well, probably 2-3 millimeter wider. But I mean, it feels like you're like, what's going on here? It's like really the neck, the fretboard seems like it's totally flat as well. It's a completely different feeling guitar to any other guitar I've ever played. Amazing. RS with Floyd Rose. Floyd Rose, yeah. There's a Mega Metal on sale on eBay just now. Right. I wonder if it's my one. Is it black? I've actually had two of them. I had my pal Wayne had a white one and I wired it for him. With a kill switch in it, but it wasn't working. The fact they're fine. I didn't really like the look of it. There's something about the shape. It was just kind of like pure. I mean, that doesn't make any difference how good the guitar is. Obviously, I just felt the shape was a wee bit not the prettiest. I just never played it, so it just really wasn't any use to it. It's kind of like I kind of got a Floyd Rose guitar, which is this one, and I've kind of got a sort of pointy one, which is a Washburn. So I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm kind of going, well, I've already got one. I don't need any more, but I never really got it. It was an amazing guitar, though. It was fantastic. It's just it was black as well. I'm not really that much a fan of black guitars as much. Not so bad now, but it seemed to keep. I don't ever buy any guitars new, so I never get a choice of color. It's like whatever color it is, I have to take it if it's the one I want. Bought a new guitar a week ago. It's an Epiphone Extreme G400. It's a huge home under the bridge and a Floyd Rose. Took out one spring. The trem is still stiff. Is it the Gothic Extreme 400? Does it kind of look like a BC Rich? It's got a big scoop on it like that. Because if so, I had one. It's got like the checker plate, scratch plate. Might not be that exact one. The Floyd Rose. The trem's still stiff. I'm not really sure. There's a thing with it's like you get different tensions of springs. Because obviously it's a floating trem, so it's like you've got to get it so it sits level. Whatever you do, I don't think it doesn't sit hard in the body. This one does sit hard in the body. That's one of the reasons I like this so well. There's no upbend in this one, which means that you can just have it stiff as hell and it doesn't ever go out of tune. And if you want to welly it, you have to really push it, which I much prefer to having a flippy one. I don't know. Floyd Roses are kind of like a law unto themselves. Really difficult. Hey Stephen, don't worry, you didn't miss much. Basically, you missed me being in a mad sweaty mess because suddenly the camera the screen just went to static and I disconnected and I couldn't get it restarted again. And now I'm on the B cam, so I've lost kind of half the viewers. It's like just through unprofessionalism. So I think from now on, basically, I will just be using the B cam. I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to notice the fact that I can sort of see it's not quite like the screen I'm looking at. It's not quite as. It's a little bit lower quality. Like I think it's 720 instead of 1080. But I mean, it's not really anything to see really. Just me, and it's like I suppose I probably look better. It's slightly a bit more blurred. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Gothic one, yes, I had one. I love the look of it and the idea of it, but I don't really like it. I can't really dive on it. The trem is more like a Bigsby where it would revolve just a tone a little bit. It doesn't sound like it's working right. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I didn't. It was maybe 10 years ago I had one, and I didn't really know how to work a Floyd Rose then. I've learned a little bit more now. I just assumed that all Floyd Roses were awful. It wasn't until I got my Washburn G15 and it was pretty manky, and I totally took the whole thing to bits, and I took the Floyd to bits, stripped it, totally cleaned it, and put it back in again, and it was like, oh my god, this is a Floyd Rose that works the way it tells you in the magazines it should work. You know, you could bend it and wobble it and it went back to tune and it sat level and all these things. So I mean, it could just be dirt in it. I mean, I don't know whether that or maybe it's just an expensive one. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wish I could help you a bit more with the Floyds. I don't know. I mean, I think remember it was I don't think they were particularly expensive guitars. I mean, it's like the way I keep looking at it is like, see, to buy like a good Floyd Rose, like what's the word, a Gotoh one or a Schaller one or something like that. It's like 300 quid, and those are amazing and totally work. So it's like, and if you're buying a guitar that costs 300 quid, that's got Floyd Rose in it. You know, it's like, I don't know, it could be worn. There's so many bits in a Floyd Rose. Like something like that. That's why I like Telecasters. Telecaster bridge is like a bent bit of metal with 3 saddles on it. It's like there's not really anything to go or wear out or go wrong. Whereas a Floyd Rose just get so many little bits, and if they're all just slightly off and not absolutely perfect with dirt in them and all these things, they just kind of end up just gunking up. So I mean, maybe taking it to bits and really cleaning it, rebuilding it again, and it'll work. Just remember what order you did it in, like take photos of it maybe as you go, just in case you can't put it back together again. Might help it. Yeah, Stephen, it's a Gretsch. It's I got it in a trade last week, and I thought, oh, I've never had a Gretsch before. Amazing. I kind of thought it was amazing when I got it. When I was driving home in the car, thinking amazing Gretsch, and then it sat. I didn't have time to play it for the first couple of days, so it sat on the wall, and I was looking at it. The more I looked at it, I kind of went, I don't know. And then I looked up eBay, and I looked up to see what kind of Gretsch, or to see how much it was worth. I had to see what other Gretches there were, and there really aren't any Gretsch guitars I look at and go, oh, what one of them? I've never wanted one, and I'm just going to have to sell it because I haven't played it since last week, and it's like, it's great. I mean, it plays fantastic. It sounds fantastic. It's just not me. Some guitars are you, and some guitars aren't you, and it's like that one just isn't. I mean, it's nice. I mean, obviously I like all guitars, but it's not for me. So I will be selling it. Removing the springs, you may have loosened the bolts that hold the shaft. Oh, I don't know what that means. Yeah. Yes, that sounds about right. I don't know. Floyd Roses are just they're just a nightmare. Really, it's like there must be eons of videos or hundreds of videos on them on YouTube how to make them work. The stiff thing sounds a bit strange. Like I ever thought stiff was good, but I mean it's like obviously it's sitting on two bolts really. So really all it's sitting on is it's like the bottom plate of it's sitting against two bolts, and then the top of it's pulled by the strings and the bottom of it's pulled by springs. So that's kind of all there is really in it. Unless it doesn't quite fit in the hole. I mean, is it definitely the original Epiphone branded Floyd that's in it? I mean, you might find that somebody's replaced the Floyd for whatever reason, and I've had this before, and the block is slightly bigger on the one they've used to replace it, so it's actually touching the insides of the body, maybe, because I've had to widen routes before just to take another Floyd Rose. I don't know. 2 hours. Cleaned it up a bit, messed around with the back of the guitar. Plays great. I don't really have the energy to fix it now because right now I've got 5 hours playtime and 2 hours just fixing it. I know. I'm sorry, man. I've totally been there as well. It gets a bit. There's guitars I've had that I think should have been really good, and were really good with the time I'd finished with them, but spent that much time on it, angry at it, hate it. Just got a personality clash. You just don't like this guitar for its and the magic's gone a little bit, and I just want rid of it. It's like it's a shame. Yeah. Any bass guitars to show today? I don't think I've got. I haven't bought a bass for a while. The last bass was the Aria. You've probably seen that. I was actually looking up. Speaking of the Aria, a wee bit of bass chat. Watching the Cliff Burton, Cliff 'em All, doing For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I was thinking that was kind of one of the things that made me buy that. It's like, it looks like Cliff Burton's one. It's the same neck on it, and it's like you look up the Cliff Burton one, and it's like 10 grand or something like that. And it's I don't think the one Cliff Burton's playing is the expensive one that's in the same catalogue as that. I think it's more like that one than it is like the one that you can buy now as a signature one. I don't think the one he's got is like through neck, big fancy inlays and all that stuff. I think his is just like a sort of a year earlier version of that sort of thing. But no, I haven't bought a bass. I've kind of got. It's dead to say I've kind of got all the basses I want, but I mean, kind of do. It's like I do. I mean, I do like basses, obviously, but there's not as much variance in basses. I don't like modern style basses. Like your Ibanez. What do you call them? Is it GR, EGR? I mean, they're fantastic to play and they sound amazing. You just look at them and go, ugh. No, like that. Same thing happens. It's like the first taste is with the eye, isn't it? And it's like some things I just look at and you go, ugh. And then some things I'll look at and go, that's amazing, and it turns out to be a heap of junk. But I will batter and work on that to make it work. It's like just because I think it looks cool. I've got a few guitars like that. I can't think of any I've got offhand, but I'm sure I've got guitars that the reason they're really good is because I spent so much time on it because I really wanted it to be good. Yeah, it's a bit preference. I've always played hardtail, but I wanted a Floyd just to do vibe bombs. Yes, I mean I only want hardtails really, but if you've got a Floyd there, you can use it. It's nice when you get one that actually works, though. The thing I don't like about Floyd's is when you get like a floating one, and it doesn't happen with all of them. This is a bit I'm kind of asking you. It's like, see, when you do your sort of Chuck Berry type thing, you know, when you kind of do that, where you bend one note and hit another one. On a lot of floating Floyd Rose, when you bend that note up, the bridge raises, which means that when you play that note, the bridge is up, so that note's out of tune. I totally can't stand that. Hold on, I'm aware I'm not looking quite central. If I move that camera over to there, no, I'll give up. It's tight. I'll just give it up. I'm actually still in the shot. Yeah. Yeah. Difficult. They do exist. The answer is I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but you do get Floyd Roses at work. I don't know if I've ever really made one work. And saying that, I think what the problem with Floyd Roses is they wear out. I think if you've got like a relatively really new guitar and it's a sort of cheapy Floyd Rose that's in it, I think it probably works for a few years. But see, once it becomes 10 and 20 years old, all the pivot points, because it's just not made, you're talking about a Floyd Rose costing 20 or 30 quid as opposed to like a Goto one, which costs 300 quid and will last. It's obviously made of much better metal because it's basically exactly the same design. Difficult. It's the original one. I'm sure the original one I had actually had. Oops, I've lost my. Hey, Blacktooth. Yeah, I disappeared. I lost my camera. I'm now on the B cam, the second unit. If you're working, we're just talking about how much fun Floyd Roses are, and the answer is there. If you really want one, I don't know. They just need a lot of heckling all the time. Yes, yes and no. Basically, if I like a Floyd Rose that's sitting hard on the body. Let's see, this one doesn't. This one just sits flat. So if you've got it set really, really tight, it doesn't matter. Whereas if you've got like a floating one set really tight, it disappears into the body, kind of thing. And this one, to return it to pitch, you just bend it and then you just pull it back, and once it's level back, that's where it was. No problems. I don't know, and maybe tried like oil. Maybe I don't know what bit would you oil. Is there any damage in the? I'm calling them the knife edge. This is not a Floyd, but it's the same sort of. These wee bits here. The wee notches, there might be a problem in there. Are they maybe binding on the posts, or maybe a wee bit worn, or something like that? The thing is, you don't know as well who had the guitar before. I'm assuming you bought it second hand, so the person had it before. You might have been a lunatic, someone like me. You know what I mean? Who chops up a pure amazing Avon Japanese bass, like hacks it to bits and turns it into a double neck and saws bits out of it and stuff like that. Like. I've managed to make something out of it just now, but I mean, it's like maybe someone's done that, or maybe someone didn't know what they're doing and had to put bass strings on it and tightened it up too much or damaged it in some way like that. The fulcrums get blunt in the cheap pot metal ones. I think so. Yes, they do. I mean, I don't know. Can you just go in and just sharpen it, sort of thing? I actually fitted a couple of Floyd Roses to a couple of guitars a couple of weeks ago. The guy had two guitars that had those horrible Bendmaster cheapy bridges in them, and I put Floyds in both of them. One of them was an Epiphone Explorer from the 80s, and one of them was an Encore. Was it an Encore? And I bought like the cheapest Floyd Rose I could get off Amazon. I think it was like 18 quid, 20 quid, something like that. And they seem to work fine. Brand spanking new, of course. I think there might be something in that. I want a guitar made with responsible, sustainable tone wood, digital optical pickets, and USB connectivity. No, I assume you want one. I had one. Why not made with responsible, sustainable tone wood? Tone woods are, well, I don't know. I mean, all libraries or even all the gem ones are all made of basswood. I think it's relatively sustainable and all that. It is nice having the fancy stuff. And you're talking to someone here who's got like a Washburn rosewood Vulcan, which has got like a rosewood cap that's about an inch thick in the middle. It's like the whole top of the guitar's solid rosewood, so it's like I've also got a speaker cabinet made of piranha pine, which I could never take out the country. You can't see it because piranha pine's been banned since about 1900 for any sort of export, and I just got it out my granny's old house. It was shelves, and I made a speaker cabinet, a Flying V. What else did I make out of it? I made something else out of it as well. So actually, my girlfriend's got one in Taiwan just now, a Flying V made out of piranha pine, which she can't ever bring back into the country. I don't think they checked it when she took it into China. But I mean, if anyone ever tested it, they're going to go, I don't know how you test it. It's like a sort of mad pinky looking wood. It's amazing. But like you totally haven't been able to use that for 50 years or something like that. Ridiculous. And the tone woods, I don't know. I don't know about digital optical pickups either. Maybe that is a good idea. Does that take away the thing that makes it real though? It's like you're using a real tube amp with a real lead, none of that. Not a. I don't know where the line draws in. And the thing is that if you're doing all that, especially if you're recording and you're putting it all onto MP3s, like, you know what I mean? Does it really matter if you're listening to an MP3 of a guitar, an MP3 of a band? It doesn't matter what kind of guitar they used. You can't hear it on an MP3. If you're listening to it on a pure expensive record player, maybe even CD. It's like where do you draw the line? Alder is super sustainable. I don't really know. Alder's not one of the woods that the Les Paul originally was made of, or the Telly and the Strat was originally made of, so people don't want it. It doesn't matter whether it's good, what it looks like. No. It's got to be like the original one. I mean, the first Telecasters were made of pine, and after they'd done pine for a year or something like that, it was like, you're right. Pine's kind of expensive, but where are we? What kind of wood can we get here? Ash. Okay, we'll get ash. It's much cheaper because you can get it, 50 miles down the road instead of having to get it imported from Canada. That's why vendors went to ash. You're like, all right, okay. So it's it really just depends what you got lying about. Is worktop sustainable? I don't know, but I mean, I'm building the worktop as an offcut. So in that sense, it's waste. Because what are you going to do with a bit of kitchen worktop that length? There's not really much you can. You can build a guitar body out of it. I'm not starting off with 4.8 meter lengths. Well, they are when I fit them into a kitchen. But if you get an offcut, which is kind of useless. So yeah. So whether it's sustainable, but I mean, it's also made of blocks. So probably because you're not using the desirable big bit that's that wide. You're using strips that length to get it. Yeah, hold on, we're getting caught up now. Yeah, Neon Tetradron. I've got to apologise to you. I haven't been seeing your comments on YouTube. I noticed last night I was looking through and it was like a couple of things you said. Like, I went back all this year and it was like 50 odd comments. It's like ones I'd never seen, and they never came up in any of my feeds or anything like that. So I need to just keep checking that. Not if you make a guitar out of it. It's tone wood or no wood. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably tone plywood. I've got the Milky Bar guitar there sounds amazing, and it's like if it wasn't. The thing is, I know it's plywood, which has tainted me a little bit because I'm going, this is pure amazing. Pity it's plywood, but even though I don't think it makes any difference. And it's when they say plywood, the plywood they made guitars out of is not necessarily the plywood you see shoring up windows and stuff. Like broken windows. Not that kind of plywood. You can get much nicer, much better quality plywood as long as there's no gaps in it and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I dare say that the guitars that I've made out of kitchen worktops will last longer than the kitchens that they're in. I'd imagine in 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years' time, my kitchen worktop guitars will still be alive. I might be dead, but they will still be doing something. Whereas I think by that time, the kitchen will maybe with the water seepage and someone remodeled and stuff like that. So yeah, and better than a kitchen. Yeah. What are those 80s Fender noiseless single coils? Are you talking about the lace sensor? I've got one in that. They're not as good. I think the noiseless thing is, it's kind of like the whole thing about having the hum cancelling thing. It doesn't sound the same. I'd put my pal Ian, lovely guy, wanted he had a G&L guitar and it had P90s in it, and he wanted stacked P90s. This is, I know it's a different thing, so like the hum cancelling P90s, and they didn't sound as good. They were really expensive pickups. Well, they sounded amazing, but they didn't quite have the bite that the ones that I took out it did. And it's the same with single coils and stacked single coils or noiseless. They're just not quite that imperceivable little thing on the top just isn't quite there. Lace sensors. What do you think of West Tone Genesis? That's the one that looks very much like the Pantera, isn't it? I think I saw it. There's one of them for sale on eBay just now. I'm still undecided whether I like the look, but I mean it plays. Well, it's a Matsumoto made West Tone, so obviously it plays like an absolute dream. And the fact it's pink maybe makes it a little bit nicer for me, and it's got the original case. But I'm not sure it's one I would choose. But it's like, see the way it's kind of curved. So I think it kind of looks like the back might even be curved that way. It plays phenomenal. I think it's the Genesis, the one that I've seen it's on eBay or Reverb or something just now, has a really cool extra cutaway that kind of comes down here for the more expensive one. I don't think it does anything. So this part of the body is like thinner. So it's it's just like a styling thing, but it looks been amazing. But these are top-notch guitars. The reason I've got that one out is to try and help me get through the other one, because I bought two of them. And this one is the other one, which you can see there. Looks great, but see, somebody, I don't know why they did it, somebody has painted it red round the outside, kind of like making it look a bit like this, but with red. And it's like, I've been using teacup to take it off, and it's taken forever, but I don't want to use sandpaper because I don't want to damage it, because it'll be a pure amazing guitar. And I should get most of the money back that I paid for the two of them by fixing up this one. This is the nicer of the two, and it's got a better neck than the pink one. But the pink one I just thought was cool. It's also got an extra tone pot. Or it's got a tone. The pink one doesn't. But these are fantastic guitars, they really are. Basically, you can't really... There's not really very many guitars better than what like the Japanese era West Tones are, really. I mean, I'm talking about, going in and trying really expensive guitars, like £1,000 Fenders and stuff like that. I kind of on that one a par, maybe. Yeah. Who's better for you, Vivian Campbell or Jakey Lee? Oh, well, I feel sorry for Jakey Lee. I watched a documentary on him, and it really put me off Ozzy Osbourne because of what they did to him. Him and what Sharon did to Jakey Lee makes you sick. Honestly, it does. You just go, oh my God, what an absolute pair of bastards she is. She's just like totally unforgivable what they did to him. Absolutely sick. Vivian Campbell, I saw him at Download. It wasn't last year because it wasn't on last year, the year before. He was on in, I think the band was called The Last in Line. So it was like I think it was all members of Dio. Obviously Dio's dead. So there was like members of Dio. And I don't know if they were playing some original stuff. They definitely played some Dio stuff, and he was in the guitar, and he was phenomenal. He was fantastic playing a Les Paul. He had the stance, he had the licks, kicking ass, amazing. And then he was on, I think they were the first band on the main stage on the Saturday, and he was also in the last band on the main stage on the Saturday, which was Def Leppard. So we were kind of there for Def Leppard, and I hate Def Leppard. I was kind of expecting them to be really good, because I saw Vivian Campbell, he was amazing in that first band. And then when they came on Def Leppard, it was just like, there's something in Def Leppard that I just can't stand. I remember seeing them years ago. They were playing with Whitesnake, and me and my pal stayed for like 2 songs and then went out the back and drank, out the back of the SCCC until Whitesnake came on. And it was exactly the same at Download. It was just like pure, I think I maybe gave them 3 or 4 songs going, or maybe the next one's good. There's something Def Leppard I've just not got something. I quite like the first album. I can't remember what it goes like, but I'm pretty sure it's all right. I've listened to it. It was kind of, that's kind of all right. It's something about the sheen and maybe the Hans effects or something. I don't know. Don't like them. So who would it be? It would be J.K. Lee, because I feel sorry for him. Also, Killer of Giants. Absolutely no chance. Well, maybe. I could never get... That song is amazing. Killer of Giants on album's called, not called Shot in the Dark. It's got Shot in the Dark on it. The Ultimate Sin. That album, there's some great stuff on that. Shot in the Dark and that song, fantastic. So J.K. Lee, because he played that, also back Dark at the Moon and all that. But hey, Daniel, you finally caught me live. Yes, if you'd been in earlier on, you would have caught me. Then I would have disappeared. I had a problem earlier on. Yeah. Those lace pickups jobs sound like Eric Clapton light to me. Oh, Eric Clapton, is that not where they came from? Is Eric Clapton not exclusively used them? At one point, I know there was a time, and that is one of the ones where they were incredibly expensive, because actually Don Lace, I know it's Don Lace, fell out with Fender because he did a deal going, oh yes, fit my lace sensor pickups into your Strat. It wasn't called the premium Strat, but it was a Strat Plus or something it was called. And everybody wanted these pickups. And Fender were like, oh no, you can get the pickups, no problem, but you have to buy them in the guitar. So there was a few years when the only way you could get lace sensor pickups was to buy the top of the range Strat and take them out it. And then Don Lace changed, started making them elsewhere, and they were AGI by Don Lace or something like that. I've had them before as well, which I think were basically exactly the same thing. Legal battles. A very similar thing happened to Bill Lawrence as well. He did a deal with Gibson where he was making pickups in the early 80s for Gibson. And then it's like, up here, right, okay, cool. So you've got them in your guitars, right? So sell the pickups on Gibson. Oh, no. You can't sell the pickups. Oh, no. You can only get them in our guitars. So he kind of went to Germany and started up his own company called OBL, which basically made these Bill Lawrence pickups. I've got them in my Schecter. That's how I know about it. And then it was like a couple of years later, then Gibson's lawyers were straight onto him for breaking contracts and all that. Not a nice business, I don't think, making guitars, really. Pretty annoying. For the future, virtual holographic guitars. Oh, going to happen, isn't it? Or you could have like maybe even like a piece of plastic, so it's got a neck, but that's it. And just because obviously it'd be difficult to play purely on air, but maybe just get like a piece of plastic that just doesn't have sensors, or just like to track it. Yeah, it's going to happen. You will get virtual, and they will sound the same. Probably. Oh. Would you like to write some songs? I'm actually writing some songs just now. I'm in the band. I'm in Cranking House. The first time this has ever happened to me. I'm playing. Well, the first time I've ever really played guitar in a band. The singer Pat likes singing and writing words. It's like that. So I can just come in with riffs and chord sequences and stuff like that, and he'll just stick words to it. So technically I'm writing songs, but I don't need to worry about the songs. But I always have a problem with the lyrics. I don't really ever listen to lyrics, to be honest. There's obviously a point where sometimes you remember the lyrics, but I don't really. I like a song and I don't like a song. I like the melodies, and I like my favorite band of the day is Baby Metal, and it's like 90% of their lyrics are Japanese, and the bits that are in English are like a chewing gum and stuff like that. There's some really dodgy bits. I like the voice, and I like the way words sound. I don't really look that deep into it. I do appreciate there is a skill to it. I mean, like listen to Neil Young and stuff like that, and Bob Dylan, but I mean, no, I would like to. Yeah. Oh, hold on, I'm getting caught up. Oh, I'm getting caught up. No. Oh, no. No. Getting drunk, fingers getting sweaty. I'm forgetting how to operate this stupid thing. Yeah. We're not getting. Right, okay. There's a YouTube video I did in front of a building. That place has been demolished. My pathetic video is still there, though. perfect. Do that. It'll last forever. So will this conversation. I suppose that's kind of scary to think, isn't it? I mean, see, like in 1,000 years' time, is there going to be like a hard drive found somewhere? Is all this stuff just going to exist forever? Because I mean, I put it on YouTube. Will that just be there forever? Like, you know, thousands, hundreds of years' time, are people going to go, look at this guy here. Look, he's like, look at all the wood. Can you imagine? Look, I mean, maybe I don't know, 500 or 200 years' time, and it'll be like up here. You know, you'll be able to buy a piece of wood for a year's earnings. Look, real wood. Wall wood, and it's up here. Look at him. He's got like everything in there's made of wood, like the tables and stuff, and he's like chopping it up and sawing it and stuff. Like nuts. I picked up an headphone strap type thing with a hockey stick that ply later 80s, early 90s. Yes, I've seen them before. Yes, they are. I always thought the hockey stick headstock, what you want to do with that is make or build an explorer body to go. It's like an explorer headstock. One of my pals, Alex, has got one of them, and he's got a story about it. I'm not sure how true it is, but I mean, it sounds feasible. Something to do with there being leftover necks somewhere and somebody buying like a container load of old necks and then buying and building. So the necks, I think, were built for other guitars, and then for whatever reason they stopped making them, and there was like container loads of these necks. So these necks were all put onto modern bodies in Korea, or whatever it is. Green, yeah, cutaway. I'm missing out somewhere. I'm missing out. Moving camera, virtual holographic guitars, headphone strap type thing with hockey stick, plywood. Did you do anything with the not quite Japanese classic? Does that make it a P-ish bass? Is that the? Are you on Trailers? Are you Mr. Troon Man? I think you might be actually. Yeah, I've not done it yet. No, I keep seeing it though. It's getting a. I was actually looking at it the other day. The thing is, it's got. What was I thinking of doing? I've got like a jazz bass humbucker thing, and I kind of want to put another humbucker to make it like a triple bucker to fit it really well, and it's going to look fantastic. It's kind of on the back burner. I keep doing that, and then I keep thinking it's the whole painting thing just adds a little bit of time. And just now I'm kind of trying to get rid of guitars, so I'm kind of looking at them going up here, right? What do I need to do the least to make it work? And I just did that one. Assembled that this afternoon. I was going to play it, and all I really wanted to do with that was paint it, because it was just plain black. Paint it, set it up. So it was like, right, paint it, set it up, out the way, whereas that one needs work. So I will get to it, and it'll be awesome. That's a really nice neck on that, and a P-ish bass, a precision bass. So it'll be like what's the opposite of precision? And not quite so precise. Graham, do you have a Crybaby wah-wah pedal? I do have a Crybaby wah-wah pedal, yes. I used to use it in the Black Sabbath band for the start of NIB, which has got like a wah-wah intro on the bass. And I was using that and a tuner pedal and a bass distortion pedal to try to... And then I bought like a wee... Well, it's not there, it's in the gig bag. I bought a wee multi-effects unit thing. It's about that size, a wee Zoom, I think it is, a wee red thing. And it's got a wah-wah on it. It's got fuzz in it, and it's got a tuner in it. And it weighs nothing. So it's like the thing about if you're going into the studio, you know, you've got a gig bag. It's the same as like when you've got a gig bag, that's fine on your back. If you've got a wah-wah pedal, like a Crybaby in it, it doubles the weight of your gig bag. Same thing if you put a bottle of Bucky in your gig bag as well. It gets incredibly heavy. I just actually recently, just a couple of weeks ago, got a Morley optical wah fuzz thing. The thing I don't like, I couldn't get on with the wah-wah, the Crybaby. The reason I don't have one set up on the floor, well, part of the reason is if I was doing it in the video, where did I put the wah-wah? Just like, do I put it there? And it's like, yep. And then kind of, it's like, so it'd have to be over there, and that's going to involve having cables that I can kicking about. Also, I'm not that keen on the on and off switch. Maybe it's just mine. I think it's an old one. But it's like, you kind of, to turn it on, and don't annoy me. The Morley one has got like it's spring loaded. So basically, you totally ignore it. Play the guitar if you want. You go up to it, just go wah, 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 wah. It wahs, and as soon as you let go of it, it's no longer wahing. It's great. I don't think it sounds as good. I'll give it that. It doesn't sound as good as a Crybaby. The only wah-wah that really sounds like that is a real Crybaby, but hard work. Badlands, yes. I was talking about this to someone else the other night. It wasn't you, it was Billy. I heard something bad about Badlands, actually. It was about Ray Gillan. I don't know how true it was. I don't want to spread nasty things that Ray Gillan did, but the first sort of decent band I was in, the first band, it wasn't just me and my pals getting drunk. The guitarist Gavin, who was mad into Badlands, the Voodoo Highway, the album's called. It's pretty good. I really like it, actually. I wasn't so keen on the one with I think he only had 2 albums. The first one was a bit hair metal-y, super produced, whereas the second one was a bit more sort of dirty, less hair metal-y, and more sort of, I can't remember what it sounds like, but I do remember it being good. Pish bass. Yeah. Yeah. I just like Def Leppard. I like the way you've spelt both, but I don't think you spelled Def right. Yeah. Is it Leppard into it? Also, Def Leppard. You spelt it right. If you want, you should be spelling it wrong. If you want to really insult the band, you should be DEAF and then put some Z's in it or something like that. Yeah, Vivian did a great job. And Dion, I remember seeing an interview with him. It's like, who was it that was telling them? A lot of people, we get a lot of phone calls from other guitarists going, look, man, Dio's a good thing. You're doing really well in that. If you go to Def Leppard, you're always going to be the second guitar because he's the second guitar, and that's it. And it's like, so he's kind of not. Whereas in Dio, he's the guitar. I mean, I ultimately super mega prefer everything, every single Dio song ever over every single Def Leppard song I've heard. I kind of remember Def Leppard being about, and I thought they kind of, it looks kind of like heavy metal, and it's like, it didn't sound like it. A song called Slang, I remember that being in the charts and going, oh, this is going to be good. I quite like, Rainbow and sort of rocking music. It's like, but this band looked like they're going to be rocking, and the song was pure nonsense. I saw Def Leppard just to see Motley Crue and Steel Panther. I don't know. I think I probably wouldn't mind seeing Steel Panther's one of those bands I'd go and see at Download at the back. I'd kind of turn up at the back. I do have some guitars that would suit them. But I think why are they not playing them? Because I'm not getting obviously the Charvel money. The Charvel money is obviously too nice. But I mean, if Steel Panther didn't get given guitars, they'd be playing something like that. And actually, quite a lot of the guitars I've got kind of would suit them. I do think they're really funny for a song, but then I get kind of bored with it. And they're just a little bit too crude. I like see Bon Scott, the way he does the sort of rude thing. I really like that. It's like it's kind of sort of all totally tongue in cheek and sort of a little bit sneaky and a bit woohoo. Whereas like Steel Panther are a bit more pussy. No. Be a bit more subtle about it. Kind of a bit more Carry On filmy. With much more, the way I would much prefer it. Like you just copy paste. You've been copying, pasting everything. Then so that's like one of the 3 things I know how to do in the computer. One of the things I don't know how to do is to fix a camera that doesn't work. I think it's something to do with the extension lead because my computer's away up there somewhere. So it's annoying. I've got a screen there, and I've got that's on my screen. It's like my pal Dabba helps me do all this stuff, and it's like. The thing I find about computers is I just get so infuriated so quickly. Just going back, I mean, maybe more as a memory. I've not really tried doing that much stuff in the last wee while, but maybe 20 years ago, just getting computers and spending all night trying to do the most simple thing. Just load the disk, load it. I just, you feel that. I can feel my heckles getting up already from that. Steel Panther were the best band at that night, the SECC column. Well, yeah. To be honest, I don't really like Motley Crue. I don't like Def Leppard at all, so I can see that. Bring Back the Heartbeat. I don't really know that one. Hey, Bob. Any tips on a decent neck replacement on a Hondo? I've just skimmed past it. Neil Titular, Mr. Troonman. How's it going? Great seeing you. Hope the t-shirt still got writing on it and stuff, hasn't worn out. I'm lost. I'm lost. I'm lost. I know. Right. Any good decent neck replacement from a Hondo LP2, Bob? Why do you need to replace the neck? I take it it's snapped or something, because to be honest, the best bit on a Hondo 2 LP is the neck. If it's a Les Paul, basically the best bit's the neck. So I kind of wouldn't. I would just. I don't know where you would get another neck that's better than it. I would kind of use the Hondo neck on something else, unless, of course, that's what somebody did and you don't have a neck. No, the Clarion had to alarm that mid boost circuit in his lace sensor guitar to get the drive front end through. Okay, is that why the mid boost circuit's there? My Washburn I was talking about on the G15 has a mid boost circuit very similar to Clapton's, although it's got a gain pot on it, which is completely pointless. You know, it's like it's got a switch to turn on the mid boost, and it's like on that guitar, there's no way. I can't really think of a situation where you would not have the mid boost on or have it on at full bung. Kind of should just be a switch turning it on, and it should just be permanently on. I suppose it's on in case the battery runs out. That's the only reason you'd ever turn it off. The future is probably going to suck. Oh no, the future's going to be awesome. I'm sure it will be. Sure it will. Black Dog Baby Metal are awesome live. Baby Metal are super awesome live. I've seen them 4 times. Saw them at SECC with Yui. I saw them the girl who left, and then I saw them at Downloads with the Muscle Metal girls, and then I saw them at Brixton Academy with Rio Metal, and then I saw them at the Barras, which is the last gig I was at with Momoko rocking. No, Baby Metal are good, but Bandmate are awesome. Yeah, see, Bandmate do play their instruments, yes. Not arguing that at all, but Baby Metal's kind of the 3 girls singing and the dancing is part of it, but the band, and it's basically a guy called Koba Metal, the guy who runs it, is a total it's him. I've heard Bandmate, but they're not my thing. They're not mad enough. Baby Metal are just pure nuts, insane. All this Woods privilege. It's going to happen. You're right. There will be Woods privilege. Cool Hondo guitars. Recently, I was making an H1 shaped guitar at a friend's luthier. Is it H1 the Death Dagger? It could be. Honor guitars. Some of them are excellent. Yes, not all of them. Honor, like so many of these companies, if you've got like a Honor expert, they will be able to find you a pure belter. And the thing is, because they do lots of rubbish ones, let's be honest, the price of the really good ones doesn't. You sometimes get them passing through at the same level as it's the same with BC Rich. If you're looking at BC Rich guitars, I don't know how it is now, but I was buying NJ Japanese ones for the same price as more modern bronze and platinum ones, and they're 100 times better guitars, but the same price because nobody knows what they are, like the Japanese ones. Same with same things happens with Aria and West Tone and all these things you can buy. They got a bad name because they produced junk at one point. If you know which ones to look for, you can get absolute belters. Any sneak previews for Trade Tuesday? I don't know if there's going to be a Trade Tuesday this week. Actually, I don't know. I suppose if anyone wants to trade, I did this. I've actually done a video. I did a dipping video. So this is what can I call this? I've got like a wee Dymo label, so I want to write something there. It says Yamaha instead of saying ERG. I want to stick a sticker on that's called something. I was going to make it. This was going to be my Octoblast pickups, which was going to be 8 coils running in series, and the pickup didn't fit in. I couldn't afford cutting it up, so it's basically I just put new pickups in it, so it's got like just a coil split in it. But, so I need a name for that. Awesome guitars. I would be playing it just now, but I've not set it up yet. The action's still high because it's not actually the same body that I originally had. I dug this out for today's video, and then I was noticing the frets were all cloudy, and I thought, I could maybe put a wee bit of lemon oil on the fretboard, so I kind of did that. Stuck it in the garage. I thought I'll come back to it half an hour later, and then I started doing that guitar, and it was only just a bit after dinner. I thought, I've got to get Lena out. Wood privilege, yes, it's brilliant. Hagstrom guitars, I don't know them. Hagstrom again, are they not one of these companies that made guitars in the 60s that were pure amazing and have since been bought over by some mad Chinese company, which may be good, maybe bad, I don't know, but not quite as easily. They've really explored the H1 is that thing. It's got the thing that gets me, the thing is it's got a really mad neck junction here. Kind of looks nuts. I've never seen one cheap enough. Basically because they're so obscure looking, it's like, they're hundreds of pounds, and I can for hundreds of pounds, I can buy my Japanese quality guitar. The Death Daggers are just Korean rubbish. Not saying Korean rubbish, but they're Korean rubbish. They're not. There's not very many pure amazing Hondos. The pure amazing Hondos are. There's one called a Fat Boy, which is like a big jazz box. There's a Fender Leeds copy. There's a P bass. There's a sort of double cut Les Paul, which is really heavy. Those are the pure amazing Hondos. All the rest are not really up to it. God bless Randy Rhoads. I don't like Randy Rhoads' the shape of Randy Rhoads' guitar. I'll give it that. Obviously playing wise is brilliant. I can't play any of it. Some things I was going to play Breakthrough by Queen earlier on, but it's just they're so. Queen is just one of those bands you can't play any of the songs. I've just given up because they're all so bloody difficult. Randy Rhoads is a bit like that as well. I can play wee bits of some riffs and stuff like that, but it's so difficult. It's not for mere mortals to play. Just bought a 90s 30 watt amp for £20. Honor Rockwood. My first guitar was a Honor Rockwood. The neck was twisted. I didn't know that at the time. That might not necessarily be the guitar's fault. If you got one that doesn't have a twisted neck, maybe it was a good guitar. So that's kind of scared me off a little bit. Hey Rubens, you've had a few cans of Dragon Soup. Really? It's like how many hands am I holding up? Dragon Soup is nuts. I'm on the Magnum, but I've not even finished this wee tiny bottle, or not even started the bucky. I just all the alcohol was at the bottom. 16.5%. Bucky time! And I'm expecting this to be a bit horrible, seeing as it's like a combination bottle built up of sort of 3 or 4 bottles that had that much in them from the last few live streams. it's like probably not high definition of, but by golly, are all the hairs on my body standing up after that wee sip. Hey Ruben, yeah. Honor Arbor series, yeah. There are some good. There's some good Honors kicking about. I've actually got a Honor Arbor series somewhere. I made a guitar. It was actually really high quality. It was a Strat type thing. No, it was just the neck I had. It was a really good neck though, and the body I drilled holes in it, made it look like cheese. It was like painted it yellow. It was really good. 4 months ago, I suggested you should do a live stream. You suggested I should do a live stream. I'm on live stream 21. So how many weeks are there in a year? Maybe that was the same time. I don't know how it works. I can't remember why. The first time I did it was just like I kept seeing that wee thing that said go live, and it's like, maybe it's like when I got a second, an old TV I found up there, so I've got a monitor, so I could now. There's the camera, there's me, there's the chat. That kind of made it possible. I don't know if there's really any other way of doing it before. Like I think the laptop's not quite powerful enough, and I basically needed the computer. I'm so far behind. Hard to find a good budget guitar that isn't a Strat. Yeah, they're all Strats. That's it. The best budget guitar is that the Yamaha ERG. Is that a Strat? I suppose you could kind of argue it is. It's more a Strat than anything else. Yeah, it's really annoying. I keep always tell people. I actually bought a Telecaster last week. I've done the video. I've not put it up. See if everyone who bought guitars at the start just bought Telecasters instead. You never see Telecasters cheap. Like, see, for every Strat you see, for every Tele you see under 100 quid, you see 30 Strats. And it's just like, the thing is, when you look up, looking like a Squire Tele or a Squire Strat, they're kind of the same price. Just everybody buys Strats. I think, to be honest, I think it's the tremolo arm. I remember when I was buying a guitar, it was like, what kind of guitar do you want? Oh, I want an electric guitar. Okay, it's up here. I wanted to have the whammy arm on it. And it's like, because you just think, oh, it's amazing. And then you see people, and it's like, actually, I sold a guitar to my pal's brother, Dave. If you're watching, and I was like, yeah, it's got a tremolo, but I kind of, basically, you're just not learning, so I wouldn't bother touching it. It's up here, all right. It's like, yes, because everyone just assumes that that's how it works. It's like, no, you push it. It's in and out, not up and down. but yeah. Almost any Ibanez, anything with Ibanez or mind you, even looking at someone was talking about the cheaper Arias, the new Arias. I think they're all right. They're not buying guitars that are absolute pants. The problem is there are guitars out there that are. It doesn't really matter what you do to it. I'm kind of struggling as well because I've got like a different. Because I can fix things. I'll just if a guitar's not working right or it's pretty rubbish, I can kind of diagnose why it's rubbish. Whereas a lot of the time it's like pure, oh, this guitar's rubbish, and it's like pure, yeah. And then you just go and it's like, all right, it just needs a truss rod adjusted, and then it's fine. Or oh, bridge isn't right, or it's just that sort of thing. Whereas if you don't know anything about guitars, to actually just buy one that without any knowledge is going to be okay is basically Ibanez and Yamaha. I think more than anything else. Under £100 telly. Live up north and isn't much about the marketplace. I suppose you've really got to look on eBay. I'd actually said telly there before that. Tellies are amazing. You don't get that many really rubbish tellies because there's not very much to go wrong on a telly. As I said earlier on, it's just a metal plate with a bit bent on it, 2 bits of wood nailed together, and that's your telly. Whereas a Strat's got much more to it. There's much more contours, and it's got like the trem system and more pickups and plastic and all these things. We're getting caught up here. Graham, I've been looking at getting a Jaguar. Do you have one? Apparently the bridge can be faulty. Quirky is the word you're looking for a Jaguar. I actually did up a Jaguar just this last week. A guy up the road. That's how I got. I don't know if you've seen that. I got an Echo guitar last week and actually got that for fixing the Jaguar. It's like I think the guys assumed it. But mind you, it's like I didn't have to do that much to make the Jaguar work, but who's to know that it didn't work. Now it does work. He was willing to give me a cheapy guitar for that. That's fine. I had to know what was wrong to fix it. It was dead easy to fix, but maybe some people wouldn't have known why. Yes, the bridges are. People use a Mustang bridge. The problem with them is, see if you absolutely thump, the strings kind of come up. This is not a good example. If you imagine this is a bridge, the strings kind of leave the tremolo thing here, and they don't go over the bridge at a really extreme angle. It's kind of like that sort of thing. So the strings are there. So see if you take the string and push it like that, the way I'm doing it there, it pops off the saddles. It will, if you push it like that. Not that you should ever really push it like that, but if you push it like that, it will pop off the saddles. So if you're battering the guitar over the bridge, the strings pop off the saddles. That's why people buy Mustang bridges, which are got a little bit deeper grooves. Didn't bother me. I thought it was fine. The problem with Jaguars is they're really expensive. And the thing that's ironic is like the reason like your Kurt Cobains and that played them is because they used to be really cheap. Like sort of late 80s. You're still expensive for a Strat telly, but you get Jaguars for like £200-300 all the time. And it's like, and Jazzmasters, that's why Kurt Cobain used them. He also used Aria Pros and stuff like that. Because they were good guitars, but they were intentionally cheap ones because you could buy 2 or 3 of them for the same price as a Strat type thing. And then now they're super cool. But I think that a lot of those bands, like Sonic Youth, and a lot of those bands didn't necessarily use those guitars because, this is the Fender that I would choose. It was a case of, well, that's a third of the price of the other Fenders, and it's really cool. And then it became cool. Having like the pure oddball, slightly weird one that nobody likes was what made them cool. And then now they're not so much like that. I wouldn't have a problem with the bridges. The Squire, what was the one? The bridge is funny. It pivots. See, when you move the tremolo, the bridge is actually the body, instead of having like a tunematic sitting anywhere. No. There's one on the SG, but the SG's not in shot. I saw it as. So the SG's sitting there and it's got like two posts drilled into. SG in one hand, Bucklebuck in the other. Yeah, so there's 2 posts sitting. These are kind of drilled. I've chosen a really bad example because the Gibson isn't like that. But normally there's like a metal receptacle, and these posts are drilled straight into the body. Whereas on a Jaguar, it's like a metal hollow dish it sits in, like a tube with a metal bottom on it, and the bridge sits on a spike in the middle of that tube, but it can actually move like that inside the tube. So if you imagine the tube being this wide, I'm not explaining this well at all. Yeah, so imagine, there's your tube, like this with a metal bottom on it. The bridge sits in the middle of it like that, and it can actually move to either side of the tube. That's when you're wiggling it, so it's kind of a bit floaty, weirdy feeling. Good fun though. Did, however, get a vintage SG. Vintage SGs are awesome. They're excellent. I did play one years ago that was absolutely hideous, and I absolutely hated it, and I didn't buy it for 25 quid. It was white with 3 pickups in it, so it looked amazing, but it was hideous. This is before, obviously now I'd absolutely jump. It was maybe 40 quid. Whatever it was really cheap, and I hated it. But I've had a few recently, and they've basically been better than the Epiphone ones. Said it. Who said that? Yeah, the Epiphone ones are, and the Epiphone one I've got is like one of the desirable sort of 90s Samick ones, but they're better. You put you must live somewhere bizarre, Blacktooth Fox, if you're getting £80 and under. The thing is, they come in groups though. I mean, I bought a Squire 51 because I haven't seen one in about 10 years, and honestly, there's 4 or something on Marketplace just now. It's like, what? So I bought it thinking, I've not seen one of them for ages. I'll buy that and it'll sell pure. I'll be able to make a bit of, fix it up, make some money on it. And there's so many for sale. It's like the market's saturated just because there's like 4 in Glasgow, and you're like, oh, really annoying. Just the times. The cheapest telly is in Holland go for around 140. It includes crap. Well, that's it. So you things are different. I didn't know you, Mr. Knox, you were in Mr. White. Didn't know you were in Holland. That's pretty cool. All very different stuff over there. My pal Michael lives in Denmark, and he can't get cheap guitars. All of them are basically the cheapest guitar you can buy is just to buy a new Squire. There's no second-hand ones, and any second-hand ones are more that sort of price. But for some reason, you can get Washburns pure for buttons. You can pick up Washburns for 200 quid, which are 700 quid here. But because there must have been a Washburn dealer near them or something, and nobody knows what they are, and it's kind of bizarre. You got a Paisley one? I hate you. Talking about Holland, when I was in Amsterdam, I very nearly bought a Paisley Teleacoustic. Luckily, the shop was closed. I think it was maybe 15 years ago when they were still kicking about, but they had a Paisley pattern Teleacoustic. I was like, I've always wanted a Paisley telly. I even tried to get one when I was in China. I looked up, and they were making them, and I could get them direct from the factory for buttons, but they didn't look good at all. For some reason, they just hadn't nailed the colour. It didn't look like James Burton's one. It just kind of looked like I can sort of see what you're going for. It doesn't look real though. Didn't look good. Yeah. The trick is just to keep looking. And the trick is not, I don't know. And I just say most of the reason I can get guitars for reasonably cheap prices is just always been looking but not being specifically after something. I think if you were specifically looking for this guitar, it might take 5 years and absolutely, thousands of pounds to get it. I wasn't specifically after this guitar. I just saw it and went, oh. So I've constantly got this big list of guitars. I'm not after any. I don't need any more guitars. I've got plenty. I don't want any more guitars. I've got everything I need. I've just got this wee back one. I'm going like that. Oh, maybe quite fancy that. The Blazer was on my list. I couldn't believe it when I got the Blazer that's sitting there. Kind of, to be honest, on my list still is perhaps a Roadstar or Blazer bass, and one between. So that's like 1981, 1982, and this is 1986. Something in the middle, maybe. Something like that in a nice colour. It's like, maybe be tempted. There's a Washburn on eBay just now, which I don't want to tell you about, that I really quite fancy, but it's basically twice what I want to pay for it. It's a stage series, and I have got an E5, which is it's kind of like a sort of chopped off Explorer, but I actually found it's a bit more like a Firebird because I saw someone selling a Firebird recently, and it was more like, so it's kind of like a Firebird Explorer-y type thing. from the early 80s Yamaki made. And I've got an A5, which is kind of like the Telecaster version, bolt on neck. I've got an A10, which is set neck, 2 humbuckers. And then I've just done a deal to get an A20, which is through neck, 2 humbuckers. And then there's one on eBay just now, which is a 15, which is yellow. It's like, oh, it's yellow. It's like 3 pickups, like a Strat, and it's got a scratch plate. It's not a particularly pretty guitar, but he's wanting too much for it. Also, it's one of the pickups has been removed. It's got a humbucker in it instead of the 3 singles, and someone set fire to it at some point. But maybe it's like one of these days I'll find one of these. Yeah. On your Fender Strat, does it say Fender on the neck plate? I assume you're asking me. I don't know. It's a question I can't answer because I don't know, but I'll have a look. It's a Japanese one, so what does that mean? I think these things are. It does not. Nope. It's a blank. It's a blank neck plate. Let's get some nice chips out it and chunks. I should. The plan went. Oh my! This needs new strings. These are crunchy. Wow. This got really thin frets on it. Yeah. So I got this in one of the Trade Tuesdays, thinking someone offered it a swap. It was like for a real Fender. It didn't have any pickups in it. Well, it did, but it someone had bought one of your 15 quid off eBay loaded scratch plates for it and put them on it. I think the scratch plate must be original because all the screw holes lined up, but they just bought a set of pickups, so they're just Chinese rubbish. So I put expensive stuff on it. I dug out through my box and got all the most expensive pickups I could find. This is a 74 Fender pickup. This is a gold lace sensor, and this is a DiMarzio stacked thing. I found CTS pots and a Switchcraft switch, and that's completely pointless doing that. But I do like that. I've just got a thing because I'm always slagging off Fenders and stuff like that. I kind of don't really play this that much because, let's be honest, it's not as good as the Blazer. But it weighs an awful lot less. Basically, it's made the same factory. It's the same as the Blazer, but the Blazer's got that sort of, like I was saying earlier on about the grunge folk, where they're kind of, yes, I'll use a cheapy, nasty guitar rather than using one of the ones everyone knows about. And it's like I've got a certain perverse part of me that likes that as well. This hangs better than the Roadster. I have a modern 2019 SG Standard. I don't know. SGs change a lot. Hey Scott, I wondered if you're making me sick looking at all your photos of just places, Coden's Church and Lochvine and all that. It's amazing. It's like cynical. But geez, what are you doing? It's like amazing seeing Scotland if you're going for a drive. Like Scottish, it's like every couple of hours it's up here. Here's another location, and here's another location, and here's another location. And other places you'd be driving hours to get between it. Whereas in Scotland, it's a case of I'll stop at Inverary, take a photo, I'll drive for 10 minutes. Oh, look, mountains. I'll drive for another 10 minutes. Look, amazing. I haven't had a shower. No, I've just been sweating like mad, and it's really hot in here, and I can't open the window because I'm talking, and I really feel that the street's just there, and if I open the window, everyone in the street will be able to hear me. Also, I basically had a problem earlier on with the camera cut out, so I had a mad flapping 5-10 minutes of me just trying to make things work. Not doing any physical effort, it was just stress. I don't know about the modern SG Standard. My pal had one. I had a shot of one for a while from the one with the robot tuners on it. It said 100 on the fretboard, the neck, and I didn't like it at all. The neck was nothing like mine. When mine's I don't even know mine's a 90s one, I think. It seems to be up and down. Or Gibsons. Really try them first, but I mean, also the Gibsons, how expensive they are. I couldn't believe it. I was trying to talk to the guy who plays guitar in the Black Sabbath band, and he was talking about maybe getting a second SG. He plays an SG Standard, a black one, and he was thinking he's using like a down tune pedal. And I'm like, work of Satan, not in a good way. You know, it's like you want to have another guitar tuned to C sharp rather than having the digital pedal. You know, because you can. It's there. It's there, and you can hear it. And it's not. There's something digitally going on. A whammy pedal, and it's like you can pick up an SG for 350, 400 quid. No, you can't. I remember almost buying one. It was a P90 loaded one in Guitar. And it was like $399 brand new. It was like last year's model, one of those tribute ones. It's like, and it's like, it wasn't anything like as good as mine. So I didn't buy it. I was just being nosy, really. And then I was thinking, so it'll cost £400 new. So now you'll be able to get them for a bit less than that. No. I saw one someone sell one for 900 quid. It's like, what's going on? The days of the sub £500 SG are gone for any SG. Bizarre. I don't know how it works. Neck diver and SG. Neck diver SG doesn't really bother me. I've never really noticed it, to be honest. What kind of tuners have you got on it? Because I remember fixing up my pal's Epiphone, and he had Grovers. It was a white SG and it had a maple fretboard, really quite nice. And it had Grovers on it, and it had neck dive like nothing else. And it's like, Grover tuners are heavy, and it's like, because it's kind of, if you think about where the balance point of the guitar is, it makes a huge difference. So what you really want is the horrible thin clustered style ones. I mean, they're not. I don't rate them as good tuners on that. I've thought about changing them hundreds of times, but just never bothered because it's a bit original. But I think that's makes such a difference, just having an extra 10 grams, whatever it is, on the headstock. The other way around it is you stick. Well, my pal had ball bearings in the cavity next to where all the controls are. You know, to try thinking if you put weight here, it compensates for weight there. No, it will make it spin. The way around heavy guitar as much as you can is get a strap that's got like a suede back on it or something like that, a wide strap, and it'll hold. I mean, this is holding there. You know, it's like the guitar itself does balance, but it'll just stay wherever you put it, because this is like it's not particularly thick, but it's kind of like it's got something to grip onto. First and foremost, and then strap button placement as well. But I mean, I've thought of it before. See if you move the strap button to there, on the same principle, might make it do that. Kind of bizarre. Scott, you at the beach, I hate you. At least I'm pretty sure there's probably hundreds of midges there. So at least we can all go, Scott, you absolute bastard, sitting on the beach in Oban or whatever it is. It's probably drizzling. There's probably lots of midges. It's probably a bit uncomfortably sticky. Yeah. Humidity in London. I mean, we're talking about humid. I mean, us Scots are absolutely horrendous at the weather. Can't handle the heat in any respect. I would nearly die. I went to China to your girlfriend, and she was like, bring your Spider-Man trousers. I've got like Spider-Man leggings, like for skiing thing, because wearing them in the winter. I'm like, all right, and a big jacket and stuff like that. Coming into Shenzhen airports, coming in, it'll be 24 degrees. 24 degrees is hotter than it ever is here, and that's winter. So I'm walking about China wearing shorts and a t-shirt, sweating to death, and there's folk with parkas on like that. Who's gonna? I think I would just die if I ever. And it's what was it? Just now, she's like, it's really hot. 47, like 47, 47, 47, 40. You're just like, it's never been. It's just the only place ever 47 in Glasgow is if you've been set fire to. You know what I mean? 1200 for a standard probably it's just the going rate. I don't know. Grover Rotomatics. Balls in the cavity, yeah. That does sound quite bad, doesn't it? It's like when he wanted me to fit push-pull pots, he wanted like a face switch in it. I was like, there's a wee dinky sort of suede bag like that in the back. Like, what the? It's like, it's too heavy for drugs. It's like ball bearings. Bizarre. But 90-ish grams in the back cavity helped a tiny bit. It could do, yeah. Daniel, it's not a 335. It's a Gretsch, which I really like the look of. I can really appreciate. I don't like it. That's not me. I think even more in the last 6 months or so, I am a Strat, or I'm a single coil player. I was always humbuckers, but now, I mean, I've been using this in the band and I've had no problems at all. For the first year of the band, I wouldn't have taken in a guitar that only had single coils, thinking, if I'm stuck on single coils, what happens if I want to rock it up? Single coils. I think they're probably slightly harder to play, but they're much clearer and you can just put it down. You met Ozzy? Well done. All I can say was thank you. Yeah, fantastic. I've never met Ozzy, but I have had a bucket of water in the face from that far away at the Barras when I was like 17 or something like that. He came out and went, let's go crazy. Poured a bucket of water in his head. I was like, that's great. Ran off the back, came back out with another bucket, and went, and then it was just like full force, like that, pure, just like that. The bucket was there, like pure, so it was like, brilliant. But I've never met Ozzy. Check out, They Sold Their Soul for Rock and Roll. Would that be the Black Sabbath Greatest Hits album? I do actually have that. I've got to sit down there. Assuming it must be, I'm assuming this Soul for Rock and Roll was there. Greetings from Ipswich. Hey Ipswich, I would be totally honest in saying if you gave me a map of Britain and said, here's a pin, stick it in Ipswich, I couldn't. I would be saying east, above Leicester. Leicester's one of the places I do know where it is. Somewhere around about there, maybe. I don't know. That's just ignorance, but it's not nasty ignorance. It's just I just don't know. No midges watching seals hunting. Yeah. You know, you compete with. I don't know who Peter Thorne is on a live stream at the same time. So I've never seen that. Sounds interesting though. My pal Rob's right into Aleister Crowley and all that. He was actually talking about something, a crazy idea, but he knows somebody, some person who has got access to the house, or one of the landowner or something like that. He was talking about being able to buy bits of the house, Aleister Crowley's house, and he's like, can you make guitars out of it? It's like, they're kind of could, I suppose. I can make like a Telecaster body out of floorboards or something. So maybe something going there. Don't steal the idea though. Sticking away like bike wheels. What was the first big gig you were at? The first big gig, it was, I saw, I always said the first ever gig was in a pub in Glasgow. About 2 weeks later, it was Primal Scream at the Barras. I don't really tell anyone about that. And then my third gig was the Stones at Wembley on the Voodoo Lounge tour. So that was my first gig. I would just say the Stones. Awesome. Norfolk, okay. East Anglia, I think Norfolk, East Anglia. They both sort of roughly. What's his face? Steve Coogan. What's his? Alan Partridge. Is he not on? Or is that Norwich? Is that somewhere different? I don't know. I'm pure ignorant. The only places I know in England are places between here and, I know Newcastle. I know the sort of M6. I've been to Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, London, Canterbury. So, and then Glastonbury, but in Glastonbury I was on a bus. So I don't know. I just don't know England enough, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, you could wait. Bike wheels. Right, I'm getting incredibly sweaty. And although I'd always said I wanted to be on for about an hour and a half or something like that, I've kind of got to an hour and a half, but I did have like a 10-minute mess about at the start. One time we were tripping on shrooms, we call them mushrooms up here. We're listening to Zeppelin. My buddy says, "It's from the devil." And the misfortune to date a bird in Cromer. I don't know. Yeah, Bullet Telecaster worth buying. The new one, I don't know. The Bullet Mustang's really good. I have played them. I think that's a fantastic guitar. Someone was talking to me the other day about that, saying, is that the pure crappy looking one? It's like, I think the Bullet Mustang looks great. It's like kind of the one that's kind of bluey purple. A couple of humbuckers. I think that's a fantastic looking guitar. I'm so pleased that they brought out a guitar that wasn't black, white, red, or tobacco. It's like pure, here's a cheap guitar, so you can only get it in red or white or black. It's a cheap one, you can't have any other colour. Whereas that one is kind of, I think you only got it in, I think it was just black and that sort of blue colour. I thought that was one of the things I thought was amazing about it. Canterbury Gong, I have seen Gong, but Canterbury Caravan. I went to the Canterbury Fair, which was a FAYRE, which is kind of like a sort of festival thing in, I don't know, 2004, 5 and 6, or 2002, 3 and 4, or whatever it is. Saw a shitload of a pair of amazing bands you would never, I don't know, where do you get things like that? I suppose now it would be like one of your, I don't know, I saw like Love and the Electric Prunes and Robert Plant and the Grateful Dead and Arthur Brown every year and Caravan and King Crimson. Well, without Robert Fripp, but the rest of the original playing in the Court of the Crimson King and all that in like an orchard in Canterbury. Pure amazing. I'd love to go to that. The Bullet Stang is short scale, but it's 24-inch, which is not short scale. It's not like a mini guitar. It's slightly. Someone was talking about a Jaguar earlier on. It's 24-inch as well. It's just that the Jaguar's got a massive body, so it's the same. It's actually bigger than a Strat, but the scale length is shorter, whereas the Mustang is smaller. My main gripe about the Mustang is I wanted to put a push-pull pot in to put coil splits on the two humbuckers, and the guitar's not thick enough to take a push-pull pot, so I had to put a switch in. So, I mean, it's thin as well, but I mean, fantastic guitar. And in the Land of Grey and Pink, Blacktooth, you're quite right, is absolutely phenomenal. I used to be in a band called The Blind Doug, and we used to play in the Land of Grey and Pink in its entirety, apart from Love to Love You, which at the time we thought was silly, but now I quite love. We played it a few times, but it was only really for a laugh. Love to love you. But 9 Feet Underground and all that stuff. I mean, I've met Caravan, I don't know, 10 times or something like that. I guess when they're playing anywhere in Scotland, they come and say hello. Actually, last time we were there, we were in the dressing room and all that. My pal Michael's actually on their last album. It's just like one of your what do you call it? Not Patreon. You know, you pay in advance for an album. What's it called? When you get backers and stuff like that. And one of the highest thing, it wasn't that much. It was like a couple £100 and you got the record and you were allowed to be on the record. So I think there was maybe 6 folk were allowed to do this. And Michael's like, up here, I'll do that by the album. I had to go down to Canterbury to do it. And they're like, up here, and it's like, oh, you're the guy from the Blind Dogs. Right, cool, we'll get you something good to do. So all the other guys who'd gone down were like they weren't musicians. And it was like so here, hit this milk bottle at the start of the song or run a fork along our railings for a wee backing effect. And Michael went down, oh, you're the percussionist here, right? And he was given he's like, right, offbeat clapping. And then he's actually up here, right, backing vocals. So he's actually singing backing vocals and he's double tracked backing vocals on one of the songs. Like, just because they were just having a laugh. It was something to do. I still can't remember what it was. Fantastic. Oh, right. So now, quite steaming. Want to open that window, let some of the sweat moisture out, and I'll play some. So this week again, I don't know what's coming up. Trace Tuesday. I've really got to sell some guitars. I keep seeing people keep sending me links to guitars that look relatively cheap and stuff, and it's like I need to get rid of some. I've honestly got like 6, 10, something like that I should really put up for sale, and I just haven't done it. I was annoyed. I've swapped, especially this. Anyone after a Gretsch, you know what I mean? It's absolutely mint condition. I think it's brand new. White binding, fantastic thing. It's just what am I going to do? It's just not for me. Not that I'm saying there's anything against folk who do like that sort of thing. It's just I wanted to have one, so I'd had one, and it's like kind of having a shot of one's not the same as actually owning one. So although I'm really just having a shot of it, actually owning it and then deciding not anymore. Rock on, everyone. Thanks again for joining in. And sorry I messed up with the sorry I messed up the start again. I think, to be honest, I'll just use the B camera from now on until I work out what it is that's wrong with that, or maybe buy another webcam or something like that. Yeah. So rock on, love you all, brilliant. I mean, just thanks. And again, so if I don't answer questions, or even in this live stream, if you ask someone I don't, just ask it again because I've just missed it. I'm not missing something. I'm just a bit steaming. Because I had Chris, Pontiac, and Graham, and Blacktooth Fox, and Mr. White, and Ollie. You know who you are. I'll just take this photo then. I'm trying to. Rock on! See you later! And I've not yet clicked the button that says end stream, but I have now. 3, 2, 1, rock!